the bell's about to chime. Turnbuckle Talk, we're here to shine. Flagship on the airwaves, leading the pack. Breaking news reviews, we've got your back. From the squared circle to the backstage news, we bring stories that you can't refuse. Turnbuckle Talk, the voice of the fight. Every slam, every suplex, every highlight. Tune in weekly, don't miss a beat. For the latest in wrestling, we bring the heat. From AEW to WWE, we cover it all from A to Z. Interviews, insights, and match reviews. If it's wrestling news, we've got the clues. From the squared circle to the backstage news, we bring stories that you can't refuse. Turnbuckle Talk, the voice of the fight. Every slam, every suplex, every highlight. Tune in weekly, don't miss a beat. For the latest in wrestling, we bring the heat.
A major change could be coming to Friday night's SmackDown is reportedly heading back to 3 hours in January. But we will report on that a little later on today. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Turnbuckle Talk with your host, as always, is myself, Chris Best, and the returning OMD. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you. It is good to be back. As I said when I logged in, just like Eric Bischoff, I'm back and better than ever. I'm feeling refreshed. I've had a couple of weeks off. Got out of town for a week with my son and just enjoyed the quiet family time.
He's not better than ever, folks. I'll tell you that right now. He's worse. But no, we're going to get right into it, guys, because we've got a lot to cover tonight here. We're going to start off with a big one, very happy story here. But good old JR, Jim Ross, has successfully come through his brain surgery. We begin with some good news concerning legendary wrestling commentator Jim Ross. Ross successfully underwent brain surgery on August 12th to address excess fluid on his brain. The 74-year-old underwent a shunt procedure, which is designed to drain that excess fluid. Ross had previously discussed the procedure publicly and the health issues that led to it. Following the surgery, Ross provided an update confirming that he's doing well and is now focused on his recovery. And it appears that good old JR isn't planning on staying down for very long. Ross has said that he's hoping to be able to travel overseas by the end of August. We certainly wish JR all the best as he continues in his recovery. OMD, what do you make of this situation, this story here?
I knew he had had brain surgery. I just was unsure what it was for until now. This is fantastic. I have had an uncle who has had to have that shunt put in as well. And I know it usually goes in right behind the ear to help drain the fluid. So this is remarkable. And I mean, this is a guy, I'm humbled enough to say that I was at his Hall of Fame induction for WWE. But at the same time, he's had a lot of health issues in the last number of years, and I know a lot of it has to do with age. But I think that for him to rush to try and travel overseas, and I'm sure it's for all in London, I think it's maybe time for him to sit back, take that rest, and not put so much focus on the wrestling as he's got to worry more about his health.
Never said anything about wrestling, though. I mean, he could be traveling overseas just to take a vacation.
He could.
But yeah, no, this is great news. I mean, like, JR was the voice of a generation, we'll say. From 95 till about, I can't even remember when he left the WWE, but we'll say 2014. No, because he came back in, okay, so from 95 on, he's been the voice of wrestling.
Yes.
Especially during the Attitude Era. I mean, he called some of the most famous matchups there. All three Rock Austin matchups at WrestleMania. Mick Foley being thrown off the cell. By God, he's broken in half. Or as God is my witness, he's broken in half. And the legendary team of him and Jerry the King Lawler. I mean, like, when we look at guys, when we look at commentators trying to get in the business today, we tend to, like, a lot of us older folks tend to compare them to JR. We look at JR as the standard bearer of great commentary.
Yes.
And to see that JR is pulling through, and we're gonna get a few more years out of JR, that makes me happy to see.
I am too, and I know that he has really slowed down in his commentary roles. And that is great to see. I know he typically was only doing 1 or 2 matches a week, or maybe one big one a month with a pay-per-view event.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm wondering if, with everything he's had going on health-wise, of course, the loss of his beautiful wife a number of years ago, I wonder if he's doing this to fill a void because something's empty and he doesn't want to just sit at home.
Well, he doesn't really just sit at home. I mean, like, he works at home too. He's got the podcast that he's been successfully doing as well.
Yeah.
Like, he's a constantly busy person.
Yeah, but I'm wondering if it's maybe time for him to slow down a little bit, maybe just focus on the podcast, do that work from home, take the step back, take the step away from wrestling and the travel. You've got, 30 years worth of stories that you can share with all of us as fans.
Yeah. But yeah, JR, so glad to see that you are recovering. As a joke here, because we know that sometimes he can be a bit bitter. Maybe the training has eliminated that bitterness.
Maybe.
Because sometimes, I mean, like, I've seen clips of his podcast, and sometimes he seemed a little bitter at certain things.
Right.
But that's neither here nor there. He's allowed to be bitter when he wants to be.
Yep.
But yeah, this is just excellent news to know that he's doing okay. He's on the mend. Now the question I don't see the answer here to is we don't know how long the recovery could take for this situation, but if he's ready to go on a trip at the end of August, why not?
Yeah.
Why not do it? Just go and enjoy yourself. Even if you do go and take in All In, because we all know he is a wrestling fan. He can just go there to say hi to everybody and enjoy the show. Simple as that.
Absolutely.
But what's not so simple right now is we're getting word we're getting word from one Kofi Kingston, guys. Former WWE champion Kofi Kingston is taking steps to secure his identity outside of the WWE. Kofi Sarkodie Mensah filed trademark applications on August 11th for his real name, Kofi Sarkodie Mensah, as well as the initials KSM. These filings cover several uses, including professional wrestling services and merchandise such as clothing. The move comes following the end of Kofi's lengthy WWE career and potentially gives us an indicator of how he could present himself moving forward outside the company. I think that this is a very smart move for Kofi to do this. It allows him to use his name where and when he wants, and WWE cannot step in and say you can't use that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I know that WWE had the Kofi Kingston name trademarked, but we see a lot of wrestlers do this, and they get to trademark their own names, their own initials, so that they can go out and continue to produce under a name that is something familiar to the fans.
Mm-hmm.
So that you're not going to get somebody that you're not expecting showing up and saying, wait a minute, where do I know this guy from? Oh, Crow, that's so-and-so from 5 years ago in WWE. Now he's back.
Mm-hmm.
Now we know, and I'll use Jon Moxley, for example. We know that Jon Moxley was the name he used for a long time in wrestling prior to WWE.
Yes.
Where he was given the Dean Ambrose name, and now he is back to Mox. Everybody knew who he was, but it's a matter of going back to what's familiar and what feels right for them. So good for Kofi to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't wait to see what happens for him next. Although I was never the biggest Kofi fan, I will give him his flowers, and I can't wait to see him back in a ring.
Yeah, and I'm very intrigued because we already know that him and Xavier Woods, Austin Creed, are going to be on the Chris Jericho cruise there. And it's interesting to note that he's doing this, and then he put out that teaser. There's also, I mean, from the AEW fan point, there's people are thinking he's going to AEW, but
Yes.
I don't know about that. I'm not gonna speculate on that move or not. But what I do want to see out of Kofi and Austin Creed themselves, because I know that they're going to be doing stuff together. Enjoy the indies a little bit before going back to national TV. That's
Yeah.
do what if I were them in a tag team sense, I would do what Matt Cardona has done, what Drew McIntyre has done, what Cody Rhodes did as well.
Yep.
Work those indies and prove your worth.
Yeah. 1000%. I know there is rampant speculation that they are headed to AEW, but I would rather see them go and do JCW, TNA, travel overseas, do Japan, do some of the UK scene.
Yeah.
Get yourself acclimated. Like, the fans are still going to know who you are because they're going to remember the New Day. And then build your name up under the KSM initials, or as Kofi Mensah, or however you want to do it. And then in about a year and a half, sign with AEW, TNA, somebody on a regular basis.
Yeah. I'm very excited about this, and I'm just going to put it out there, but CWE, give him a call, please.
Right?
Yeah, I can't wait to see. I said this when they departed WWE. I can't wait to see what they do, where they go, where they're going, and it has me interested when I see like reports of where they're going. Like when I saw the information that they're going to be on the next Chris Jericho cruise, I'm like, I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I'm still trying to think about, at least on Xavier Woods' side, is the up down stuff. What's going to happen with that? Is he going to continue that under another format? We'll find. Well, it's all in due time. But Kofi, good on you for doing that trademark and not doing what Ultimate Warrior did, where he changed his name.
Right.
But I mean, I realize in Warrior's case he couldn't use Ultimate Warrior, but he could have just trademarked Warrior and went with that.
Yeah. Same with Ryback.
Yeah. The less said about that guy, the better. But
good evening to. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was going to say a good evening to Bobby Petito, saying hello to both of us and just liking the video on YouTube. Bobby, always a pleasure to see you. Thank you for stopping in. And we, of course, appreciate the support that you give us here each and every night of the week at Turnbuckle Studios.
Yes, thank you very much, Bobby. And I'm intrigued. I really am. And I'm also intrigued to see like how they do in singles kind of thing. So like if the CWE does call upon just Kofi to come up, or if they call upon Austin Creed to come up. And there's a part of me that like I'm thinking about this. I don't remember Kofi like on the independent circuit before coming to the WWE. So
No.
I'm very intrigued to see the kind of character he develops for that. I'm very intrigued to see that if he does go to AEW again, what kind of character does he develop there?
Yep. And Bobby asking if Maple Leaf Pro called them. Yes, please.
Yeah. I mean, this. It's like I said back when we discussed these departures. It's not the be all end all to be in the WWE these days.
No.
So by doing this trademark application and getting it approved, Kofi, like I said, playing it smart, now he can use this name And if he goes back to the WWE, he obviously goes back to the Kofi Kingston name. But if that comeback, let's say that comeback doesn't work out in like a year, he has something to fall back on with a wrestling name now.
Yeah.
But somebody who has a very legendary name is set to retire. But we'll talk about that after this commercial break.
The Turnbuckle Studios store is open for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the merch and represent the best from the shows you watch on a weekly basis. Multiple styles to choose from with over 10 products available. Don't get left out and pick up all your favorites today. Find us at turnbucklestudios.org.
Ladies and gentlemen, turnbucklestudios.org is your home for the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program, and we encourage you to shop at our merchandise store. It is powered by redbubble.com. It is 100% safe and secure. Support your favorite shows and your favorite podcasters. Wear what we wear. And when you make that purchase, let us know. Tag us on the socials. We'll give you a shout out live on air during one or more of our weekly programs, and all of the proceeds come back into our studios to bring you a better experience. All of that and more, turnbucklestudios.org.
Yeah, and as I mentioned, a man who carries a legendary wrestling name has plans to retire in 2027, and that is the one and only Lance Anoa'i. Lance Anoa'i has announced that his time in the squared circle is coming to an end. Anoa'i revealed that he plans to officially retire from professional wrestling in about March 2027, which will mark approximately 17 years since he began his career. The 34-year-old member of the legendary Anoa'i wrestling family spent time under contract with WWE beginning in 2024, but injuries prevented him from making his televised in-ring debut before his departure from the company in 2025. Anoa'i said that his decision to retire will allow him to dedicate more time to his family. That gives Lance several more months before he officially hangs up the boots in March of next year. And yeah, Lance Anoa'i, I completely forgot that he actually had a WWE deal. And we probably talked about it and how he could be a member of the bloodline, but that does not seem to be the case anymore.
No, it doesn't. And you know what? Good for Lance. He's had 17 years in the business. But yes, he did have, I believe he was on Evolve and then made his way into NXT, but never really got any true TV time. So we never actually got to see him compete. But good for him. I mean, 17 years is a long time in this business, and yet it's very, very short compared to what some people have had. But to go home, be able to focus on family. And I wouldn't be surprised if he stays involved in the business in terms of training people, in terms of helping run a school, something like that. But good for him to say, okay, enough is enough. I need to heal up. And maybe it does have to do with quality of life. We don't know what his injury situation is that could have potentially helped with this decision.
Yeah, we don't know if those injuries help with the situation or not, but I do understand, like, retiring at a young age, 34 years old, 17 years in the business. He's paid his dues. He's done his time. But the thing I've always said about retiring from pro wrestling, you never really truly retire from it.
No.
Whether it's you get into the world of podcasting like we have done, or whether it's you go and open a school or help out at a school. And I say help out, because there's a strong chance that I think if he chooses to hang up the boots, maybe this is a ploy at the same time, but if he does choose to hang up the boots, maybe he goes and works with Rikishi and his promotion and his school and they work together. But I say that this could be a ploy because what if he was coming back to the WWE? What if this was something he was saying as a
Right.
way to detract anybody from thinking he's heading there, and then he heads there post WrestleMania.
It's always a possibility. You did suggest potentially with Rikishi and Knox Pro. We know that WXW has been closed, but I believe it's actually under new management, new ownership, and I wonder if he could be going there as well to help train and lead and maybe train the next members of the bloodline.
Yes. Very intriguing. Yeah, and see, that's what I excuse me, that's what I like about this too. Like, again, retiring at that young age, he does bring that that experience with him. That he brings the independent experience with him, is what I meant to say here. So like he can talk about, like, growing up in the independent circuit. He can go to these schools, talk about growing up in the independent circuit. He can talk about growing up in the Anawahi family. He doesn't necessarily have to help out with just sorry, I'm stumbling on my words, with just Rikishi. Like, he can retire, do the thing with his family, right? But he can still go and maybe step in and give talks to other class or other promotions, like come to other promotions and give training seminars, that sort of thing. Like, the world doesn't end when you retire from wrestling. I can say that, at least.
The world never ends. It's an oyster. This just opens up a new chapter. This could just end the in-ring chapter.
Yeah, because again, in-ring retirement, right? It's a lot different than fully retiring from the business. I mean, we look at guys like I accidentally popped that up, my bad there. But we look at guys like Jason Jordan, right, who had to retire from in-ring stuff. But he's not fully retired from the business. He works as a producer. The same thing goes for the Hurricane, Petey Williams, Kenny Dykstra, who are all working like in another capacity in pro wrestling. And that's where we Lance and why he can definitely go. He can bring his knowledge of wrestling to, again, like I mentioned, all these other independent circuits. And I'm going to use a personal example, something that I did see when Savio Vega came here for CWE. One of the things I noticed during the day was, as we were setting up and getting everything together, was I saw Savio giving tips and advice to all the wrestlers about their matches and things like that.
Yeah.
And that's, the kind of thing that I think we could see a guy like Lance Anawahi doing. And again, we talk about him going to those wrestling schools. This is where he can talk to you guys about how to talk to other promoters, about getting involved with them, working one of their shows.
Let's not forget, there's also managerial positions to go out and do. So he can go out and become a mouthpiece for somebody. I mean, who's to say we don't see him in March or April show up as a mouthpiece for Zilla?
That's a possibility, but that's it's going to be interesting, these next few months, as we do say our farewells to Lance Anawahi and wish him well in his retirement. The thing I know that that I'm almost certain he will do, and this is what a lot of wrestlers do when they do retire, they do go off and they do focus on their family. They maybe spend like a year and a half, I would say, doing stuff with the family before the bug bites them again, and they're back in the business in some form or another. And believe me when I say that, the bug that bites you never goes away.
No, it doesn't.
I'll tell you, every time I'm at a CWE show, you have no idea, and I can't do it, but you have no idea how much I want to get into the ring just run the ropes.
Yep.
But
I want to just go in there and do the front rolls through the ring and just straighten out my back a little bit.
Oh yeah, because those rings were those rings did give us some chiropractic treatments in the past.
Yes, they did.
um, but no, Lance and Hawaii, thank you so much for everything you've given to the business. Hopefully, this isn't the end. If it is, thank you once again. But now we move on to a story that we're gonna that I accidentally popped up, but I thought we should discuss this a little bit because this does hit home for us in a big way. But WWE NXT has announced 3 dates that are coming to Canada here. We're looking at they're coming up here in October 15th through the 17th, in which they will be hitting Kitchener, Ontario using the Odd Arena. October 17th at the Slush Puppy Center in Gatineau, Quebec. And then one that's very close to home for us, and we may be going on to this show, but October 16th, Sudbury Community Arena in Sudbury, Ontario. This is the first time that NXT has come to Canada in 7 years, and it could feature stars like NXT champion Tony D'Angelo, Kendall Gray, Miles Bourne, Zarya, The Vanity Project, Cruz Montana, Naraku, Birthright, Shiloh Hill, all already announced to be a part of this show. I can't tell you how excited I am, because how often have we said that NXT needs to come up this way?
Right. And I mean, this is the first time in 20 years that WWE has even hit Northern Ontario.
Yeah.
Let alone NXT.
Except for the times that they drive through our city, because they do.
Yes, they do. I was at the last WWE show in Sudbury, which was leading to Eddie Guerrero and JBL in a steel cage.
Yeah.
So I know this is completely different from a SmackDown Red, White, and Bruce tour, but this is still NXT. This is still WWE. And I actually just came back. I spent a week in Sudbury, on my first week of holidays. So it's very easy, very simple to find our way around. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are all potentially looking forward to being at this show.
Yeah. I honestly cannot wait, because the one guy I'm looking at, as I'm looking at the list of guys that I get to see my favorite guy, Naraku, Evil, if he's on this card. Yeah, that gets me excited. I get to see Birthright, which would obviously feature Brian Pillman's boy. So another Heart Dungeon person that I will get to see.
Right. And I mean, let's not forget, let's talk about, do we see Natalia and Carmen Petrovic, who are Canadian, on this tour?
That might be hard to say, because Carmen is down in AAA too.
Cruz Montana. And do we potentially see Zilla Fatu on this tour?
Oh, we have to. We have to, because of the stuff that he's doing with Cruz Montana and Tony D'Angelo. And this is what I would do, if, being that it's been 20 years since Sudbury has hosted a WWE event. Bring all your champions, put all the belts, put all the titles on the line. Well, you don't have to put all the titles, but you can maybe feature a champion in a promo or something. But yeah, I would love to see Tony D'Angelo defend the title. I would love to see Miles Bourne, because I'm fastly becoming a fan of his work.
Yep.
Shiloh Hill. I just love Shiloh. And give me oh my God, what's her name? The medal, the girl that her dad's a rock star. What's her name?
Oh, Lizzie Rain.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you. Her face was there. The L in her name was there, and the Rain was there, but the name wasn't.
And I mean, let's not forget that Santino's daughter as a member of Birthright.
Yeah, it lists Birthright. So again, we get to see William Regal's boy will be there, and I've seen William Regal live myself.
Right? You and me both.
Yeah.
Finley's boy will be there in Uriah Connors.
Yeah, and I got to see Finley live too. So.
Right?
So it'll be interesting for me because again, like, and I told Davey Boy Jr. this, but it's so intriguing to me to actually be live at a wrestling event like way back in the day and seeing like somebody's dad wrestle and then seeing their kid wrestle.
Yeah.
And I told Davey Boy that, like, because I'm like, what Davey Boy Jr., when I met him there, I told him, like, I saw your dad wrestle down the road back in '94 against Owen Hart. And he goes, that must have been a hell of a match. And I'm like, yes, it was.
Yep. Yeah. So
And,
yeah, this is huge for us here. We're just gonna have to wait and see, and we'll keep you all posted as to whether we are going to this show.
Yeah, tickets go on sale tomorrow. We're going to be taking a look at those ticket costs. So
Yep.
stay tuned, guys. We may have, if this does happen, I highly recommend that we do like a vlog on this, like a turnbuckle vlog.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is big for us. So that's why I had to bring this up suddenly here. But we're going to move on to the next story here as, I know OMD, you're not going to really like this, but it is big news. It is wrestling related, and it does involve The Rock, and this is actually a huge honor at the same time. Dwayne The Rock Johnson has added yet another major honor to his career, and this one comes outside the wrestling world. Johnson has officially been inducted as a Disney legend during the 2026 Disney Legends Awards at D23. The award is one of the highest honors presented by Disney and recognizes individuals who make significant contributions to the company's legacy. Johnson was presented with the honor by his Jungle Cruise co-star Emily Blunt. During his acceptance speech, though, The Rock also turned some of the attention towards his daughter Simone, better known to wrestling fans as Ava, by leading the crowd in singing happy birthday to her. And that does not surprise me that The Rock would do this, but I gotta say, congratulations, Rock. He's done a lot of work for Disney, and it's unreal, the list of stuff he's done with them.
He did do a lot of work for Disney early in his acting career, then got away from it to become the action star until the Moana movies, both animated and the new live action. I'm really not sure how I feel about this, just because we all know that I am not a fan of The Rock as both a wrestler or as an actor. So I will say congratulations. I'm not going to get into a rant or a tirade about The Rock. I'm not going to say anything negative here. Congratulations to Dwayne. And, you know, big ups to turning the attention to your daughter, putting some focus on her because she had just celebrated her birthday.
Yeah, this is, like I said, this is a huge honor here. And if you just give me one moment here, I've just got to check into something quickly. How many Disney movies has The Rock made? So, yeah. So The Rock has made 6 Disney movies in his time, starting in 2007 with The Game Plan, then Race to Witch Mountain, then he went on to do Moana, then Jungle Cruise, Moana 2, and then the live-action Moana just recently. And that's just Disney. I mean, we're not talking about anything he would have done with 20th Century Fox, which is also owned by Disney, or any of that nature. Yeah, so that's where I'm going to be like, yeah, so like, yeah, it's amazing. Like this. So the way I look at The Rock, yes, I know you don't like him, but you got to admit the contributions he has made, not only just to the wrestling world, but the world of Hollywood, have been significant. you look at him as he is one of the highest paid actors in the world right now. He is a money maker. So like if you're a movie maker and The Rock wants to be in your movie, you 1000% sign him because you know you're going to get a blockbuster.
Yeah, but I mean, we look at this and, you know, he's making all of this money. He's the biggest action star in the world. But I mean, let's not forget, for every success, he's probably had 3 flops of movies. You know, and I mean, if you take a look at, you know, perhaps the one movie that I enjoyed truly that he was into compared to a lot of people in Doom.
Okay, but that was at the start of his career. He was still trying to find his footing.
But I actually really enjoyed that movie compared to a lot of people. So I'll take Doom, Gridiron Gang, and I'm not even sure. Those are probably my 2 favorite Rock movies. And then you put them up against Skyscraper, Rampage, and Baywatch.
Yeah, but okay, Baywatch may have been a flop to the critics, but it still made bank at theaters. So
I don't know. Even he's gone on record and mocked it, saying nobody watched it.
Yeah, it still made bank though. So, but yeah, this is again, this is one of the highest honors. But there is one concern I do have here. I get like the Rock's contributions to Disney, and I'm not knocking anything like that, but there's one man that I feel is sorely missing from this list of Disney legends, and that is the voice actor Jim Cummings. This dude has played Winnie the Pooh for close to 50 years, 50 years, something like that. Winnie the Pooh, he's done Darkwing Duck, he's done all kinds of different voice acting. He needs to be recognized as well. Just going to put that out there. It's neither here nor there. This is a moment where we celebrate The Rock in doing this because it is monumental that he did this. Now, the next step for him, in my personal opinion, try and go for that Oscar. And he almost caught it with The Smashing Machine last year. But yeah, on that note, guys, we are going to take another commercial break, and then it'll be our showstopper segment.
Turnbuckle Studios and the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program bring you the week of streams. All times are in Eastern Time. Monday night, we are on call as the Raw Patrol is on duty at 8 p.m. Tuesday brings you the flagship show, Turnbuckle Talk, at 8:05 p.m. Wednesday, we play games with the PlayStation Showcase at 8 p.m. Thursdays, let us power your dreams with the Xbox Showcase at 9 p.m. Friday, we invite you to come for a ride with the SmackDown Security Detail at 8 p.m. The weekend brings you Saturday Night Gaming at 8 p.m. On Sunday, be sure to catch the Chris Parrish podcast at 12:15 p.m. And later in the day, The Locker Room presents Wrestling Recap Delivers at 7 p.m. Always be aware that weekend shows can vary in times, as the PLE Patrol and other watch party streams are always a must-see. Be part of the shows and join the chat every day and watch all of the latest episodes on turnbucklestudios.org/shows. And please do not forget to drop a like, follow, and to subscribe to all of our channels, and when the time is right, all you have to do is tap in.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, turnbucklestudios.org is your home for the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program, and as you just saw, there is something for you here each and every night of the week. And we want you to check those out under the show section, but we want you to meet the team behind those shows. Mr. Best, myself, Bubba Duke, Logan Thompson, Chris Parrish, and of course the Godfather himself, Carl Carafel. Click on our individual links to get our individual socials and watch our latest weekly live episodic programs. All of that and more at turnbucklestudios.org.
Yeah, and tonight's showstopper segment is called The Expansion. WWE SmackDown is reportedly set to expand back to 3 hours beginning in January 2027. According to WrestleVotes Radio, a source within the USA Network says the show is expected to return to the 3-hour format, with January 8th currently being the targeted for the change. WWE has yet to officially announce the move, meaning that date and plans could still change. This would be this would continue a scheduling pattern that we've seen with SmackDown over the past couple of years. The show originally expanded to 3 hours in January 2025 after moving to the USA Network a few months earlier. The run lasted until July, when SmackDown returned to its traditional 2-hour format. The 3-hour format then returned in January 2026 before SmackDown once again moved it back to 2 hours during the summer. If the latest report proves accurate, January 2027 could mark the third consecutive year in which WWE has expanded SmackDown to 3 hours at the beginning of the year. The additional hour would also come during one of WWE's busier periods, with the Royal Rumble and the road to WrestleMania beginning shortly after the reported change. But for now, SmackDown remains a 2-hour show, and we'll have to wait for official confirmation from WWE or USA Network regarding the reported January expansion. This is something that does happen every year, and from what I understand, the reason they go back to the 2-hour format is because of other programming that USA Network likes to throw on, I believe, after SmackDown. What do you make of this move?
This move is really a huge, huge pet peeve of mine. You get so accustomed to doing the 3-hour shows, and then boom, it's right back to 2 hours. And, we had that issue with Raw. People stopped liking the 3 hours. They found it dragged, but they didn't want the 2 hours. And I think that the USA Network needs to find that happy medium. Even if you do an 8 to 10:30 automatic, and then you run a syndicated show for a half an hour before you can launch into maybe a new program at 10 o'clock. This is something that just really, really irks me. I want them to find that consistency with SmackDown instead of this volleyballing back and forth.
Okay, but at the same time, with this move to 3 hours, I think that this also expands more stories to be told. Between all the wrestlers, we've seen when they cut it back to 2 hours, they take some of the stories and they move them over to YouTube, and a lot of fans don't bother to look up YouTube to look at these stories that are happening,
right?
But I'm more meh on this one. I'm like, okay, I mean that's just how they got to do things. I don't think there is like the whole finding the happy medium thing. I think it is just they're doing it. They move it back to the 2 hours in the summer so that they can accommodate for other programming. And then once that programming comes to an end, they go back to the 3-hour format.
Yeah, but this is something that I'm going to say this. This is where I think TKO need to step in and say, okay, no, we need this consistency, this volleyballing back and forth. Yes, it's great for you, not so great for us, because now, we've got less airtime. We can't get necessarily all of the talent that we want onto the show.
Okay, but that last hour, that after the 2 hours, that's WWE programming still, because it's Braun Strowman's show that takes over, and that's still under the TKO branding.
That's actually under the Peacock branding and the US and NBC.
Yes, but it's made by WWE Studios, owned by TKO.
But I still think that they should be getting that happy medium. I don't consider, and I understand that Braun Strowman is a former WWE superstar, and they've done this to sort of give him an avenue. But I don't look at this as WWE TV. So I think, and if you're going to do that, you're still good to run it at 10:30. I don't know if it's half an hour or an hour show. You're still good to run it at 10:30. And I think this is TKO needs to step in and say, okay, yes, I saw a clip the other day from actually what happened after SmackDown with Nick Aldis confronting Blake Monroe and telling her it's time you had your debut. Which
Yeah.
we're actually going to see this coming Friday from Toronto. So I think you need to be able to create that expansion and get more talent instead of the same people being used and the same people being held back. And I don't think it's necessarily that they're wanting to be held back or they're wanting to hold them back. They just don't have the time or the space to get them onto TV.
Yeah, and that's where I'm saying in the 2-hour format, they still use YouTube, they use social media to tell the other stories that they want to tell. So nobody's really being held back or anything like that. With the 3 hours, though, it does expand those stories that are being told.
Yeah. And that's why I think they need to get that happy medium. I think they need to sit down and say, okay, this is what we need. And if we want to use the WWE TKO argument on Braun Strowman's show, then guess what? That's still our program. You can slide it back half an hour.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if they wanted to keep it at 3 hours on Friday, I would maybe consider moving Braun's show to possibly Saturday or even a Thursday. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure what USA's programming is.
Right.
But I'm okay with it regardless.
Move it to Tuesdays at 10 o'clock on the USA so that I know it's the CW that carries NXT, but then they're going to go from that to flip over to the USA Network to watch Braun Strowman.
As I was saying, I'm okay with the 3 to 2 the move. It doesn't really bother me in any way. Because as I said, they do focus the stories on that don't make it to SmackDown in the 2-hour format. They put them up on YouTube. They put them up on their socials. So to the fans that are out there complaining that we're not seeing these stories or anything of that nature, that's on you for not going to their socials afterwards and not looking to see if there was anything more or anything like that, and following the WWE product on their socials to get their stories told, or reading like what other fans are saying. Like, sure, we saw the Blake Monroe thing, but there were also people that were like, ooh, did you see that what Blake Monroe did with Nick Aldis and Julia? And there were a lot of fans in like those types of comments that were like, no, wait, when did this happen? This didn't happen on SmackDown. But it did, because it still happened as a post-show kind of thing. It's just, you just got to follow what's going on there.
Yeah.
And with the 3-hour format, sure, it does allow a lot for more stories to be told again, but we're still going to see some things that are going to happen on social media to get those eyes over there. I'm very I'm just at a meh kind of thing. And I know that sometimes we all thought it was done because of I think it was like football we thought it was, but that's not the case or anything of that nature, because SmackDown in the 2-hour format has been firing on all cylinders. SmackDown in the 3-hour format has been firing on all cylinders. What I'm looking forward to seeing with the 3-hour increase is if we can maintain the role that SmackDown currently is on, especially with the women's division. I would love to see more focus on what's going on with them. Like you mentioned, the Blake Monroe Julia thing. I've been saying this for months on end. I would love to see women have a feud, just for the sake of having a feud.
Yeah,
we don't get it that often. We it's always women feuding for the titles.
Yeah.
And this also allows for more storylines with like we haven't seen The Miz and Kit Wilson in a little while. I mean, on SmackDown TV, Miz was at SummerSlam. It would allow for more stories to be told from maybe some NXT call-ups that could very well happen. And it would also allow for certain stories to breathe, which is what they have managed to do even in the 2-hour format, is finding ways to make stories breathe. So for me, I'm neither here nor there as far as my feelings on this. I knew to expect it. Just means more of us on the SmackDown security detail.
Yep.
Okay. So we'd like to hear from you guys. Would you like SmackDown to go back to 3 hours? Or do you think 2 hours is the perfect length for a weekly wrestling show? Let us know in the comments down below. And before we say our goodbyes, we'd also like to let you guys know that we do have a tag team partner, guys. And that is Dubby. And all you got to do is just head on over to w.gg and you'll be able to use that promo code TB Studios to get yourself 10% off of everything within the store. That is w.gg. And OMD, as we say our goodbyes, what are those words we'd like to go out on?
Ladies and gentlemen, as always, we'd like to remind you the world is better with you in it. From all of us here at Turnbuckle Talk and Turnbuckle Studios, to those of you out there wherever you are, good night, good luck, we out.
Flagship show setting the tone. In the world of wrestling we stand alone. With news and reviews we lead the way. Turnbuckle Talk every day. Turnbuckle Talk every day.